The Relics of the Gree event is a limited time, week-long event that happens roughly once a month or every 2 months in Star Wars: The Old Republic. In this video, we'll be going over all the different types of rewards you can get from the event. If you'd like to learn how to start the event, or how to do it efficiently, please check out my other guide, the SWTOR Gree Event Guide. So these rewards will require 3 different things. A reputation rank, which you'll increase as you do more quests during the Gree event, and either credits or an item called Gray Helix Components. These are a special type of currency that you can only earn during the event. You can see how many of these you have in your currency tab of your inventory. They're shared between all your characters in your server and can be spent by all your characters on your server, so it's just one big pool of currency. If you're looking for Gray Helix Components, they're quite hard to get. The main way that people get them is by fighting the Xenoanalyst operations boss, which is only around during the event, because it can give you 4 to 8 Gray Helix components per time that you fight it. The only other way to get them is from the heroic during the event and the one-time per character Ancient Gree Relays quest. So you're either going to be running the heroic a lot if you're more of a solo player, or way more efficiently get into as many Xenoanalyst groups as you can. So now let's start going over some of those awesome rewards you can get from this limited time event. So first off, there are 3 different types of mounts or speeders that you can get from this event. The first one requires legend rank and 48 Gray Helix components. It's quite expensive. It's called the Blue Sphere. It's got a really cool animated glowing effect, and it's pretty different from most speeders as you're kind of sitting in the middle of an orb. There is a second similar one called the Cyan Sphere, which costs 48 Gray Helix components, or if you happen to have done the Life Day event in the winter, you can also spend 36 snow-covered parcels plus 16 Gray Helix components, and that also requires the champion rank. It's almost exactly the same, except it's a slightly different color. And lastly, there's the coveted red sphere mount, and this one's actually quite rare. It's a rare drop from the Xenoanalyst boss. I don't know if I've ever even seen it drop. I can only assume it has a higher chance to drop in the more difficult mode. I'm very lucky I was able to find another player who had it for this video. Next up, let's go over the pets. So the first one that you can get is the Gree Data Core, and this requires newcomer, and it just costs 50,000 credits. Just a cute little cube that floats along after you. Doesn't have any use, just for cuteness. The second one you can get from the Gree vendors is the miniature Gray Secant. I guess it's a droid. It just floats around and follows you. It requires legend rank and 50,000 credits. So here's where it gets interesting though. Even if you're not necessarily a pet collector, this specific pet, when you hit legend rank, has a special achievement tied to it. And the way the achievement works is that you take the pet out and you go to 5 different planets and search for rare creatures to feed it data, and then you can get the achievement, and it's part of the overall Gree event achievement as well. There's also 2 other pets you can get, but these are not from the vendor. There's the L1-L Scout. It's from an achievement. And then the second one is L1L Defender, which is a rare drop from the Ancient Gree Destroyer and Ancient Gree Defender enemy. And if you want to learn more about either of those 2 special pets, you're gonna want to go back to my guide about the Gree event, and there's more info there. There's also a fun little toy called the Gree Digitizer Cube. It costs 6 Gray Helix components and the hero rank. It's a replacement for your ability that regenerates health when you're out of battle. So instead of using the ability that's normally bound to your equal key on your keyboard, you could use this toy from your inventory and you'll float up in the air and you'll recover health when you're out of battle. It's not like a special item, it's just a kind of fun item. Now here's the items that people really like about this event. So back in the day, legacy-bound weapons, which means they can be traded between your characters on that server, were very, very hard to get. Now, at level 75, it's very, very easy to get them. So back in the day, if you wanted to play like a sage on one side and a sorcerer on the other, they wear the same gear. And if it's difficult to gear up, you'd want to maybe make them share a lightsaber. And this is how you could get some legacy-bound weapons. They're also really, really cool weapons because they have a very interesting animated effect. So they are quite expensive, so it'll take you a bit to save up for these. So the first one is the Gray Helix lightsaber, and all of these will require champion rank, and the lightsaber takes 18 Gray Helix components. If you need to get 2 sabers, you gotta buy it twice. And what people like about these is they have a very beautiful and interesting animated effect around the hilt that changes color with your color crystal. It kind of looks like a digital kind of artifacting pattern that happens most around the emitter and the bottom of the blade. Second, there's the Gray Helix Saber Staff. It requires 24 Gray Helix components because you would never need to buy 2. And what's interesting is that the lightsaber and the dual saber both have the really pretty animated effect, but the hilts are very, very different. They are not similar at all, even though they're part of the same series. This is actually the one I use on my character a lot. The Gray Helix autocannon for the Trooper Commando costs 24 Gray Helix components. It's a very big, cool weapon that's got a blue digitally glow at the end. Then there's the Gray Helix Blaster, kind of like the lightsabers. Since you may need to buy 2, they only cost 18 Gray Helix components. So if you need to, if you're a gunslinger, you'll have to pony up and pay the double price. And this one's kind of an interesting design. It's a big white gun with a little digital animation at the top. There's the Gray Helix Blaster, which is a quite compact dark blaster. It does have a laser sight on it, and the digital effect is a lot less visible than some of the other weapons, but it does have a cool glow to it. And lastly, the Gray Helix Sniper Rifle for the Imperial Operative Sniper costs 24 Gray Helix components, and it's very cool. It's very interesting. It's a really long sniper rifle, like a medium gray color, and then the kind of digital glowing effect is across most of the sniper rifle, unlike most of the other weapons. On top of that, back in the day, it was very, very difficult to get an offhand weapon that was legacy bound. So if you wanted to share your shield generator or your focus or your vibro knife between your characters, it was almost impossible to do, except through the Gree event. So players used to run the Gree event back in the day, really hardcore to get these items. Now, these Gray Helix offhand weapons serve almost no purpose. If you're level 75, you can very, very easily get any legacy bound offhand weapons, and it's not like they show up visually on the screen, so there's no cosmetic reason to get them either. So pretty much don't buy these, but there is a defense shield, a deflector shield, a focus, a generator, shotgun, and vibro knife. Each require the hero rank and 8 Gray Helix components. I guess if you're collecting, you can go for those, but I don't really recommend it. Now I'm going to show you the armors. The armors are also something that players really love, and what's especially nice about them is they do not cost those Gray Helix components. So if you're the kind of player who's mostly running solo, just kind of doing the dailies when they're available, maybe you're not even doing the heroic at all, this is great because you'll get reputation from doing the dailies just fine, and these only cost credits, and they are super cool. They are also legacy bound, which is nice. You can send them between your characters. So this is the blue scaling set, and I really like it. It only requires friend rank, and it's not that expensive. If you're like level 20, it's going to be expensive, but to do the event, you have to be around level 50 and up, so by then you should be able to afford it just fine. but it just has such a cool look to it and really good glow to it. A lot of people compare it to it's Tron. I like to mix and match a lot of the pieces from this set. So I have a couple characters, you'll see them have blue glowy stuff on their armor, like maybe a belt or a bracers or a boots, and that's where it comes from. The helmet's a bit goofy. So I've seen a lot of people just do this. The chest piece is based on an Imperial operative chest piece, and then they made it black and gave it these cool glow lines. The boots are really cool, thigh-high boots too. The belt's pretty unassuming, except for the toilet paper on the back. And the bracers are super glowy. So have fun mixing and matching that. And if blue is not your color, at the exact same time as you unlock the blue version, I forgot to get the red bracers. That's okay, you guys can play pretend. The red version's super cool too, and it also unlocks at the friend rank for credits. So I'm guessing they're kind of going for, if you're Republic, you can go get the blue one. If you're Imp, you can go get the red one. But it's totally up to you, and you can mix and match if you want as well. Go crazy. But this one's exactly the same, but has a red glow instead. Now, if you really like this, but you're not into the black colored armor, once you reach the champion rank, you will get access to buy the white scaling armor, which is very similar, except it has more white parts on the armor. But you'll notice the whole thing isn't quite white. It's got bits and pieces of black all over it too. But in general, white armor with a blue glow. Looks really cool, especially if you're out somewhere like this with a really neat dark background. It's less visible the more light that there is in the room. And once again, very fun pieces to mix and match. Now I'm going to show you the decoration rewards for the event. There is a ton of cool decorations that you can get from this event. So the first one, this big ol' one right here, is called the Gree Pillar. It requires champion rank, but it only costs 4 Gray Helix components. What exactly you could use it for, I'm not sure, but it's got a pretty little rainbow pillar of colors coming out of it. It just kind of goes in one of those larger hooks. Next up, and by far my favorite one, is the Gree wall panel. It costs 8 Gray Helix components and does require the friend rank, but oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Unfortunately, it only does come in one color, so if blue's not your color, too bad. But it has a really cool animation on it, and it also, I believe it's see-through, so you'll be able to see whatever's behind there as well, behind the panel. I always wanted to get a whole bunch of these and just put them up in a whole room, but because they cost 8 Gray Helix components each, I think I only have 1 or 2. There's also these really great lights that you can get. So there's these 2 Gree light pillars, blue and Gree light pillar orange, and they each cost 4 Gray Helix components each and the champion rank. Once again, you can get a bunch of those if you want and make something with them. And to match, there is the Gree light orange and Gree light blue, and these only cost 2 Gray Helix components each. So I was thinking it'd be kind of cool. You could buy a bunch and make some type of pattern on the wall. There's also 3 artworks that you can get with your components. So there's the art orange vertex, which shows the Gray Secant. It looks like it's maybe landing on a barren planet. And it requires newcomer and 6 Gray Helix components. And then we've got art red bisector, which takes hero rank and 10 Gray Helix components. And art white scaling, which takes outsider rank and 2 Gray Helix components. And here's a really fun one that I was only able to get recently. This is the Gree Ambassador. It takes legend rank, so you have to go all the way up the reputation ranks, and costs 20 Gray Helix components, so you'll probably be saving up for a while before you get this little wiggly guy. So these are the actual Gree. These are the Gree, the aliens. There's one more decoration. This is called the Gree data terminal, and it requires legend rank and 4 Gray Helix components. So it's just a nice little match to those light pillars. You can put it in any type of room that you have some type of technology in. Not only do you have those different item rewards that you can get, but on top of that, you'll have your reputation titles through the Relics of the Gree. They're called the Gree Enclave in your reputation, so you can unlock the Gree Research Assistant, Honored Silver Acute, and Perfect Gold Bisector once you reach those different levels. And there's also a few titles that you can earn through achievements if you go into the event section and Relics of the Gree. So the ones you can earn are Gray Perpendicular, and that one's for completing a lot of different little things for the Gree event. And there's also the Blue Octagon and Red Octagon titles, which are related to PvP achievements for the Gree event. Same thing, you can learn more about those from the Gree event guide. There's also kind of a secret title called Combat Specimen that you can get for defeating both the Gree world bosses, the Wampa and the Worm, and for fighting Xenoanalyst. And that's everything to show you guys. I hope you have fun during the Gree event, and may the Force be with you.